morning, ladies and gentlemen, from Toronto, Canada, and it's good afternoon in Jordan. Today, I am breaking away from the traditional recovery town halls of interviewing governmental officials and tourism body heads, and have a tourism trailblazer who has left a deep mark on the world of tourism in Jordan, and is called at times the father of tourism. Michael Nazzal. Michael worked in the Kingdom of Jordan and occupied many hotel positions, including one of them is as investor in some major tourism investments. You occupied the position of chairman of the board of the Jordan Hotel Association and the board of Jordan Federation of Tourism Associations, which includes many other subcommittees and bodies. You have been an active member of the Council of Nobles through the Committee of Tourism and Heritage Affairs. You are one of the leading tourism industry leaders in Jordan, participating in developing the tourism education within the kingdom by privatizing and establishing the first scientific specialized edifice in hospitality. Which includes Jordanian Company of Hospitality and Tourism Education, Jordan Hotel School, Jordan Applied University College of Hospitality and Tourism Education. You've been member and vice chairman of the Arab Union for Tourism, founder and vice chairman of the Arab Tourism Organization, and member of the National Economic Dialogue Committee, as well as member of the Senate. More recently, you have been serving on the board of the Royal Jordanian Airlines. Welcome, Michael, to our platform.
Thank you very much for hosting me with you today. I'm glad to be with you to talk about the Jordanian tourism and to answer all of your queries and questions.
Thank you. So the above is what I've just listed out is a long testament to your unique position and involvement in major tourism positions and investments in Jordan. So who is Michael Nazzal? Is he a trailblazer disrupting tradition? What makes you the businessman and the leader that you are?
Well, I come from a family that has been in the hospitality business and the hotel business for the past 5 generations. We had our hotels, I'm talking about in the 19th century in Jerusalem, in Jericho, and later in the early parts of the 20th century in Amman, Jordan in 1925, followed by a hotel in Petra in 1930. We established the first hotel in Amman, the first hotel in Petra, the first hotel in Aqaba in 1974, and last but not least, the first hotel at the Dead Sea in 1990. Wow. So we in the business throughout the past 5 generations, and we started the business of tourism in Jordan.
Okay, so
of course that happened. We did that in the beginning. I'm talking about my grandfather in 1925 with the support of Thomas Cook, which does not exist anymore, because at that time Thomas Cook and Sons were the ones who brought the business to the Middle East, whether it was by rail from through Turkey to Syria from Europe, or by sea from Europe down to all the way to Jerusalem, and then they wanted to continue with those tourists to Petra. This is why we had established Amman and Petra. Amman to regroup both groups coming from both destinations, and to send a convoy down to Petra in 1930.
Thank you. So let's talk about Jordan a little bit, and your insights will be very valuable for us today. In the last few years, Jordan suffered from a sluggish economic growth, continued fiscal deficits, and there were some issues with increased public debt. Yet Jordan still strives to overcome these challenges through several measures that aim at increasing economic growth. To promote growth, Jordan has been focusing on very promising sectors that could create employment opportunities. Within this context, the tourism sector is considered to be one of the most promising in Jordan. In fact, Jordan houses several special tourism sites that contribute to the country's tourism comparative advantage globally. For example, Petra, the baptism site of Jesus Christ, Wadi Rum, and many other sites that makes visiting Jordan a special touristic experience. According to the Ministry of Tourism, the tourism sector in Jordan was equivalent to 12.5% of GDP in 2018. The Central Bank of Jordan's figures reveal that tourism revenues in 2019 were equal to Jordanian dinars of 1.2 million, an increase of 7.7% over the same period last year. In addition, employment in tourism reached 53, I think over 53,000 direct jobs, along with indirect, I think about 100,000 in 2019. Several international awards were received recognizing Jordan's tourism products, such as the Jordan Trail, Queen Alia International Airport, and Fian Eco Lodge. How critical is tourism for Jordan?
Well, I mean, you just mentioned that we employ directly and indirectly about 155,000 people. I would like to add to it that many industries and many other jobs and businesses depend on tourism. So industries are flourishing because of the tourism sector, just like many other countries in the world. I mean, we're not creating something that has not been tested. Jordan is an open museum with 28,000 registered archaeological sites. We don't boast only about religious touristic sites, but also from the Roman Decapolis cities in the east. We have 7 of them in Jordan out of the 10. And the icon of Jordan, which is Petra, which is totally different than any other site that was built, because Petra is a carved city in the rock. Wadi Rum is a very nice natural site. Ecologically, it really is a wonder as well. But most important also is the uniqueness of the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is a very unique place today, maybe with the situation in the world. We're talking about a place where there's more oxygen and more ions of salt in the air. And this is very good for pulmonary diseases, besides all the dermatological treatments that we have been carrying out for the past 30 years. Jordan really boasts a lot of options for tourists and a lot of products. The Jordan Trail and other products are additions to somebody coming to Jordan to really enjoy our open air museum, our sites. As you mentioned rightly, yes, we depend economically on the tourism. Last year, 2019, we think we went up to 17% of the GDP.
Okay.
The rest of the GDP was dependent on exports of phosphate and potash, which are the mining industries of Jordan, and the exports of certain industries. But the tourism sector is a very important sector to employ people. The workforce of the Jordanian sector in the private sector is about 750,000 people. So when we're employing directly about 150,000 working for and around tourism, we really, or employment is really dependent on this touristic sector.
Okay. But then fast forward to now, to 2020, and COVID happens, and it halts some of the best laid plans. On March the 17th, the Jordanian government declared a state of emergency as part of a series of measures to limit the spread of COVID-19. But at the same time, the pandemic came at the peak of your tourist season, and the situation is grim. What's the outlook for tourism and hospitality moving forward? How is your country responding to the current situation?
Well, fortunately for us, for the past 9 days, we reported 0 cases. And we're glad that we'll be a very green country, with maybe the only country in the world that has no cases whatsoever. Yes, the airport is closed and the borders are closed, and anybody coming in is spending 14 days in quarantine. We will suffer economically because of the closure, but at the same time, yeah, we're living our life. I mean, there's no risk of corona on the streets, of COVID-19 on the streets. So Restaurants are opening up till late. People are crowding up. We're not forced to have, I mean, we need to put our masks and keep some distance, but we don't really feel the scare to do it. On the other hand, what would we prefer to see? Do we want airports to open and then go back to a closure after a month or so? Or are we better off just being closed and at least all other sectors living their life as normal as it can be, besides the tourism that is suffering? We're trying to cope with the tourism suffering. Many Jordanians spend their vacations abroad. Today, Jordanians are going to Dead Sea, Petra, and Aqaba. Yes, they do not cover all our expenses, but some trickle of business is better than
through the domestic tourism, yes, that some of the receipts are being covered. Okay.
And in Amman, which is the capital city where tourism originates from Amman to the other locations in Jordan, the Amman hotels are benefiting from the quarantined guests coming in from abroad, Jordanians coming back. Yeah, we hear plans of reopening the airport when we feel that certain countries are as green as us to open with them. I don't see many countries in the world that are comparable to Jordan today.
Right. The Ministry of Tourism announced that the World Travel and Tourism Council has awarded Jordan the Safe Travel Stamp, thanks to Jordan's health safety protocols that were deemed to be in line with the Council's standards, which makes Jordan a safe destination for travel and tourism. The Jordan Hotel Association has developed a guidebook for the conduct of hotel operations in Jordan after the COVID-19 pandemic. This guidebook has been distributed to more than 500 joint tourism establishments around the kingdom with membership in the association. How important are these protocols? Can you please elaborate on this?
Well, the protocols describe in details what should happen, how it should happen. I mean, we have in every hotel now the stickers on the floor for distancing before getting to the reception counter in a hotel. When you enter the hotel, temperature is being taken to check for fever. There are the safe gates where people are sprayed, luggage is sprayed and decontaminated in case it has any viruses or anything else. Reception and staff are all wearing masks upon arrival. So, and there is a partition between the client and the staff, a glass partition to avoid any in case any virus transfer. Hotel rooms are decontaminated after.
Okay.
We're not serving any days for clients in the hotels. It's mostly plated service that is very well pre-wrapped, covered, and whatever. So yes, we are taking every possible means, and this manual SOP applies also. There's an SOP for restaurants, for taxi drivers, for rent-a-cars. It applies to everybody.
Okay. The wait is, of course, finally over, as you've mentioned, that a lot of lockdown restrictions are now lifted. All domestic tourism destinations are now open at full capacity for locals and expatriates in Jordan. However, as we venture into this new long-awaited chapter, hotels are still recovering. As a hotelier, how painful is this recovery, and how long before you can put the impact behind?
Unfortunately, from what we read and what's happening around the world and what we see in the news, I don't see a recovery for tourism around the world before 2 to 3 years from now.
Okay.
I personally feel that the trickle of tourism that we'll start having next year, maybe by the middle of next year, will be very little. And tourism and tourism groups, individuals will start traveling more than groups. We will not see a recovery as such before 2022, 2023. Right. Full tourism back to where it was prior to the COVID-19 will not be before 2027, because many airlines have cut down on their seats, on their seat capacity. most of the larger aircrafts are out of service, and will continue to be out of service. So the number of seats flying will be way less, and it's going to take a long time before business goes back to normal in the sector. We should be adapting. We should be changing our type of operation mode. We should change our facilities. I mean, at the Dead Sea, for example, if we can move to health and wellness more and more, that is something we should be doing at the Dead Sea. In other resorts and other locations, we should adapt to a different type of clientele and maybe encourage more local and regional tourism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a long road to recovery, at least where the hotel product is concerned, which is in line with what is happening with the rest of the world. But I believe now that the numbers, tourists have started coming back. I've read about some estimates that visitors to the rose-red city of Petra rose by 44%, or some 128,000 people when comparing the first 5 months of 2019 with 2018. Last year, around 292 people came to Petra, and by the end of this May, this year the number was 420. So those are the estimates at the moment, that it's almost doubled the number of foreign tourists to the kingdom, which is a remarkable increase. But how valid are these numbers? Do you feel the impact of this on the ground?
Well, in January, February till mid-March, we felt really a growth. We had reservations which were way beyond the figures of 2019. Mm-hmm. We were hoping that 2020 would have been a great year for Jordan. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing this in the near future. Yes, we will suffer for a few years, but in Jordan, in the past 100 years, we've always seen ups and downs. I mean, starting from the 30s of the past century, we had the Palestinian Revolution for 3 years. In the 40s, we had the Second World War. In the 50s, we had the Suez War. In the 60s, we had the 67 War. In the 70s, we had the 73 War of Suez War. So it has been an ongoing thing where we had 3 years of suffering every 10 years.
So you are a resilient country because you're in the eye of the storm always.
Yes, so we're used to recovering. Tourism is resilient. We try always to bring back tourism. Our travel agents are not sitting down idly. We hope that soon, through changes that we're going to carry out, we will be able to recover faster than others. As I said, we have so many, it's an open air museum. We have so many sites and we have so many products. So if one product suffers, the other one might pick up faster. Right. Accordingly, I don't see that we might suffer for as long as other countries would. Let's all hope so. I mean, and of course, if there's a vaccine sooner than later, then everybody will start working sooner.
Right. Okay. So notwithstanding COVID-19, over the past few years, bigger attention was given to tourism from the central and local governments. And this effort has already resulted in some positive outcomes. Visa restrictions for some nationalities were finally lifted. Petra visitors reached 1.4 million by early December in 2019. The baptism site, Aqaba, Wadi Ram, the Kerak Castle, these registered unprecedented numbers of visitors, with Bethany registering an increase of almost 30% by the end of November 2019, as for the same period comparatively. A number of new budget airlines were set to fly into Jordan in 2020. There were plans for the formation of a new medical tourism board under JTP. However, you have your critics too. And in the criticism, it is the risk of over-tourism in certain sites like Petra, which will eventually lead to a poor tourism experience, lack of communication and understanding between the various tourism associations and government bodies. There is a gap in the 4-star hotels, especially in Petra and Aqaba. The need for a convention center of international level in Amman, unregulated adventure tourism. So these are some of the criticism. What do you think, as a pioneer of tourism in Jordan, what are the commercial strategies you envision that will be successful to overcome these shortcomings? Because a lot of countries are rethinking their tourism product because of COVID-19 now. So they also feel that there's a silver lining and there's an opportunity. So what do you think needs to happen in Jordan to overcome perhaps some of these shortcomings, to plug the gap? Where do you think Jordan needs to go from here?
Well, I mean, you listed many of our problems, and our biggest problem is that we have not been using our capacity to its maximum. Our seasonality has killed us. I mean, yes, we fill April and October every year up to 100%, but the rest of the year we have very slow summers, very slow winters.
So it's not a year-round product, you are saying?
It should have been a year-round product. Our weather permits it to be a year-round product. Actually, our summer is fantastic. It's way better than any place in Europe or anywhere in the world. We have great temperatures now in summer. But I don't know why everybody keeps thinking that we're part of the Arabian desert. And Jordan, we're a mountainous country. We're sitting, it's a dry, warm climate. We're sitting today at 3,000 feet above sea level in Amman. Petra is also at 2,400 feet above sea level. So we're not part of the desert climate of Arabia. But people consider us to be part of the Middle East. So yeah, summer is hot and winter is very cold. So if you consider winter to be very cold and snowy and so on, and many days in Petra we really close down because of snow, it means our weather is not Arabian desert weather. It's Mediterranean weather, and our occupancy across the board has not reached 60% for the year in even the best years like last year. That's our main problem. If we can spread tourism throughout the year, our occupancy will go up. We'll have less crowdedness in Petra and touristic sites, because if everybody wants to come only in April and October, that's the burden. Then more people will work in tourism, rent-a-cars, drivers, freelance drivers that take tourists around. They will have work throughout the year, touristic guides. Today, they're all working for 3 months, 2 months in spring and 2 months in autumn, and the rest of the year, they're looking for other jobs. Those are main obstacles today, and if we can overcome this by proper promotion, and unfortunately here I have to talk about the promotion aspect, because we don't have enough funds to really do the promotion that Jordan deserves. The amount of funding at the tourism board, it is basically based on 0.5% of the tourism hotel revenues, which we contribute to the tourism board, and whatever the government or the Ministry of Tourism has in their budget. It could be zero, and it could be 10, 20 million JDs. So it is very variable. So we cannot pre-plan our marketing for the year after and for 2 or 3 years, because we don't know how much will be allocated in the Jordanian government's budget. Those are the main obstacles to really overcome the crowdedness in Petra and in sites, and to really raise the occupancy, raise the level of tourism receipts throughout the year. If we can reach that, and that's what we're working on continuously, then more people will be interested to work in tourism, because it's a year-round thing, and automatically more products and more sites development will happen. There'll be more restaurants, more cafeterias in sites, rather than just one cafeteria here or one restaurant there. There'll be more products, and that will extend the length of stay for tourists as well.
Okay. So you feel that so overall what I'm hearing is there needs to be more coordination, and of course the funding is very important, that the government allocation of the tourism budget, that also plays a key role in there for the forward planning. Okay. So thanks to the firm political will under the leadership of His Majesty King Abdullah, there is a vision to make Jordan the regional tourism hub with a focus on the southern region in the coming months. Though traditionally Jordan was regarded as a historical cultural destination, today Jordan is competing with over 150 international destinations in almost every niche product apart from winter tourism. You have already experienced the rise of some modern day rivals in the market such as UAE and Qatar, even though they totally lack in historic sites. However, now you have another contender, newest regional rival like Saudi. Is that a challenge for Jordan? And how should Jordan prepare or respond to that?
Well, I mean, we have been thinking about the Saudi tourism growth. It will be a challenge to the southern part of Jordan, which is Petra, Wadi Rum, and Aqaba. It is not a challenge to all our other destinations, Roman sites, archaeological sites, the Dead Sea, the baptism site, religious sites. Those are totally different, and the Saudis don't have that product. Their product, when I say they can compete with Aqaba, Petra, and Wadi Rum, I'll take them one by one. In Aqaba, it's the Red Sea, and they have a fantastic shoreline with great reefs, coral reefs, and nice sites. Going to Wadi Rum, we have 1/3 of Wadi Rum in Jordan, but 2/3 of it is in Saudi Arabia. And then looking at Petra, yes, the Mada'in Saleh in Saudi Arabia is the continuation of the Nabatean country, where Petra was the capital. Yes, they have sites similar, but not as big and not as complete as Petra. But at the same time, there is the intrigue for a tourist to come and see Saudi Arabia for the first time. So it will affect Jordanian tourism, the southern part of the Jordanian tourism. But then looking back at it, I mean, out of our 30,000 hotel rooms in Jordan, only about 20% of those rooms are in the south. The rest of our hotel rooms are really in the north and the center. Accordingly, we will, I wouldn't say we would not suffer, but the more tourists they have and the more travel agents Jordanian travel agents who would know how to market the Saudi destination, we will be able to bring tourists to see, start from Aqaba and drive all the way to Saudi Arabia with the openness of Saudi Arabia. We can make things happen for them and the benefit in Jordan from that aspect. We can bring people to Aqaba and take them to dive in Saudi Arabia. We can bring them to come and see them.
So you're almost talking about creating a tourism corridor between Jordan and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I mean, they complement each other, and we have an airport and we have a city that is well structured, which is Aqaba, and it is right there at the border. It's only 10 miles away from Saudi Arabia. So they don't have, I'm not worried in the near future. They don't have hotel rooms yet. They don't have the airport. I mean, yes, they want tourists to come, but to come and see what? To come and see Riyadh, I mean, the desert kingdom, fine. But they don't have the infrastructure and hotels ready, and it will not happen overnight.
Right. And there's some time. So this is also then the time for Jordan to ramp up its product as well, right? And together. So you feel that it can be collaborative as well. It can be complementary as well. That's what I'm here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, complementary, and definitely we should benefit out of it. And definitely with the economy of the oil today, I don't see them really spending so much money to develop it faster. It will take a longer time than even they anticipated.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about investment opportunities. So investment opportunities in Jordan are presented and managed through a number of entities that offer a range of incentives that slightly differ, but generally focus on tax and customs incentive exemptions, land and ownership benefits. There's a big emphasis on tourism sector investments across the board, with listed opportunities varying from traditional hotels and restaurants to amusement parks, recreational villages, adventure parks, entertainment facilities, and more. However, there is no clear investment map for the tourism sector as a whole that clearly identifies the variety of products needed. There is a call for significant investments that will focus not just on hotels, but on all projects that increase the stay period of tourists in the kingdom, highlighting the importance of harnessing innovation to enhance the competitiveness of the overall tourism product. Share with us why investing in Jordan's tourism infrastructure is a unique opportunity today.
Well, going back to what you just said, I mean, sometimes is it the chicken or the egg that should come first?
Yes.
Without hotel, there are no tourists. If you don't have tourists, why should you develop an amusement park?
Right.
You need people to go somewhere. So yes, somebody will suffer for a while until something else happens. Yes, we're developing our hotel rooms here, but also we are looking as investors to grow also in things that will extend the length of stay of our guests. We look for partners all the time to come in with us to do other things other than hotels and hotel rooms. The Jordan Trail has and will develop sites or facilities along the trail where many homestays and home cooking and guests staying with people for lunches and dinners is happening. Tourism should be built from within. And when you have those people interested in serving tourists and see the benefit of making some money in their homes by serving lunch to tourists, they will grow that business. Their kids will be sent to hospitality schools to learn hospitality and hotel management rather than sending them to add to our thousands of doctors sitting. But it has to happen from within. And the Jordan Trail is a very good start to help people see the importance of tourism and to benefit from tourism.
Right.
Unfortunately, with the COVID-19, I mean, this has really slowed that business, and they might be cursing us today rather than praising us. But it will come back, and when it comes back, they will feel it. And His Majesty has not closed an eye on tourism at all. He kept pushing the government to do a cable car in Ajloun, on the mountains of Ajloun. He keeps pushing to have more infrastructural facilities in locations where we can develop eventually restaurants and outlets to help tourism. Accordingly, yes, we need the tourists back in order to grow back our business. Otherwise, we're at a standstill.
Right. I think the biggest asset of Jordan, to put Jordan on any world international map is your royal family. Your Majesty, the work that he has put in his family, it's very iconic and it's very positive image of Jordan. So as an extension of that, it comes tourism on the back of it. And I think the both are entwined. So if he has that vision and he's pushing it, then that is all good news for Jordan.
Well, both of their majesties, King Abdullah II and Queen Rania, have always been supportive of tourism. They have been the promoters of tourism.
They are literally the brand ambassadors of Jordan, isn't it? Of the Jordan, the product.
They have been reaching out to major investors around the world. They have brought the World Economic Forum to Jordan many, many times. Her Majesty is on the board of the World Economic Forum. This caused us to build a huge convention center at the Dead Sea. They have brought the Nobel laureates around the world to Petra, where they meet every couple of years. So their Majesties are doing their best to bring people in to invest, whether it's industrial or otherwise. But that also helps tourism in conventions and conferences and in exhibitions as well. Without them, I'm sure we would have not had what we have today.
Right. So I'm at the end of my discussion with you. I don't want it to end because the Jordan is such a vast product as tourism. I think we can spend the whole days talking about it. In conclusion, what is coming out to me is that Jordan houses an abundance of historical and heritage remains and rich nature-based attractions that make it a great location for various tourism activities and segments. Market segmentation, although is necessary to understand visitors' needs and develop the relevant niche tourism products, adequate infrastructure, environmental protection, and certified quality services, and better understand investment and development needs. But the challenges by far are outnumbered by the benefits and its unique tourism offering. Thank you so much, Mr. Nazzal, for being on our show. I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for hosting me, and we hope to see you in Jordan yourself.
I hope so too. That's the intention. That's the plan. Thank you so much.